me plan an expedition, my first one. And I even paid a good part of the expenses.
I wondered about parental concern.
As I've grown older, I've realized what I must have put them through in anxiety attacks and all. But the intelligence they expressed in making me feel comfortable with being different, with, you know, a desire to contribute something that only I could do in my own area. And yet they never made me feel that it was anything but good to be unconventional and to be my own person.
At 15, John decided he wanted to fly an airship, along with 126 other adventurous goals. I asked John how important he feels goal setting is.
Well, in my humble estimation, it's the difference between a humdrum, shallow life or one that enables you to feel a sense of satisfaction and growth and development. I think so often people settle for a sterile existence, and they postpone living, and they always say, well, someday I'm going to do this and that.
For 9 months, this modern-day Livingston took a kayak down the treacherous waters of the Congo River. He told us about meeting people along the way.
So often I was traveling and living a lifestyle that was familiar to them. I wasn't coming to a village in a Jeep or Land Rover. I was usually coming in on foot or paddling up in my own little boat, sharing their food, playing with their kids, accepting them totally on an equal basis. Whereas the whites or the people from civilization that had ever seen before had always come in a vehicle, in a position of authority, looking down on them almost and treating them as inferiors. These are Congolese paddlers. My partner drowned on the upper Congo, and I went on using 12 big dugouts and 129 paddlers. One dugout was 100 feet long, weighed at least 5 tons, and had 24 paddlers. These are people of the Bamboli tribe, and they had never been photographed with a movie camera before. They were 200 miles into the deep equatorial rainforest of Zaire, 200 miles from the Congo River. And I had a marvelous 3 or 4 days with them. You learn a lot living with so-called primitive people. They are so basic in the way they look at people and themselves and the enjoyment and quality of living.
In such a primitive surrounding, John had a chance to think about modern man's lifestyle.
Your thoughts go more to what we might call cliches, the true worthwhile things of life, family, friends, and health, and a deep-seated faith. And you begin to realize how basically unimportant the ownership of property is, or having a big, massive wealth somewhere, or bigger car, bigger home. These are very shallow values. And yet, as we grow up in the modern world, these become intrinsic to a standard of success. You know, boy, has he made it. Look at his income and look at what he drives. And those are all phony values.
Throughout his adventures, one fact has become very clear to John.
You realize there's one human family and that you're just a member of it. And you develop compassion and understanding of why people are the way they are and why you should never judge them. And there's a tendency to do that, particularly of villagers who are not involved in the 20th century, but whose whole being is a life struggle to survive. And the first thing you learn in anthropology is that there are no superior races on this planet, no inferior ones. There's only one race, Homo sapiens.
Besides jumping out of planes and hang gliding, this World War II veteran of 33 B-17 missions has also flown hot air balloons. John also established civilian jet pilot records for speed and altitude. I asked him what the differences were between piloting a jet and hang gliding.
It's all the difference in the world. You feel seat-of-the-pants type flying with a hang glider with the freedom and grace and joy of a bird, whereas in the F-111 you feel you're in a futuristic aircraft. You feel, actually, the F-104 Starfighter, which is my favorite of all the fighters, you feel the plane is an extension of your body. It's indescribable, you know, to climb at 1,400 miles an hour straight up, and then to do later snap rolls, loops, chandelles, and Edelmans, and feel the total power of that aircraft.
The physical demands of exploring are great. from the hot, steaming jungle to the cold, high altitude of mountain climbing. I asked John what he did to keep fit.
Well, it's the same I followed all my life, is to, just avoid anything that's injurious to mind, body, or spirit as much as possible, to watch my diet, and I work out every day. And I've always tried to keep in physical peak condition. I do 100 sit-ups every morning. I work out with cables and weights, and do a lot of walking.
His walking has led him to sights most of us only see in books. His burning desire to see new places and explore the unknown has led him to many adventures. I asked him how he accomplished his goals.
Well, I've set up priorities to begin with, and at the age of 15, I made that list of life goals, totaling 127 important achievements I wanted to do. And as I wrote down each one, it was with an idea that that was going to be fulfilled no matter what. And I set them up according to my age and health and the ability to do them. And I started out with the simple things that I could do right away, which gives you a sense of achievement. Then you go on to the more difficult and more ambitious ones.
One of the most difficult goals John reached was flying with the Air Force Thunderbirds.
The important thing is to have a plan. Most people say, someday I'd love to do that, or next summer I'm going to do this, and I say, start doing it right now. Commit yourself.
A jump in a B-52 ejection seat takes great commitment, but is a perfect example of the motto John has set for his life.
To fear is to fail. To dare is to do.
I think the real key to John's achievement is the way his parents encouraged and supported him when he was still a teenager.
His life might have turned out much differently had they tried to discourage his adventurous attitude.
That's true.
There's lots more of the magazine to come, so stay with us.
Ever thought about air? Mostly you take it for granted, right? Well, let's try something. Breathe in. Good. Breathe out. Breathe in. Now hold it. Okay. You see, carbon dioxide is building up inside you. And, well, your cells don't like it, right? All that carbon dioxide is triggering your breathing mechanism. But you're doing a great job of resisting it. You see, most of us don't give air a second thought. You probably didn't realize that you use over a gallon of air every minute. 26 gallons when you're exercising. Without air, you could survive only a few minutes. It's really important to know all we can about air so we can protect it and use it wisely to help us feel better and live longer, right? Well, air is only one of the topics in Keys to Wellness, which is a new self-improvement course that we'll send you free of charge